Miles Gregarius. At the base of an imperial Roman legion stood the ordinary legionary, the Miles. A new recruit could be called a tiro, but recruitment was a temporary status, not the first permanent rung of a modern rank ladder. Once fully serving, the ordinary legionary performed the routine duties that kept the legion functioning. What separated him from the levels above was not just authority. Roman military status also depended on specialized duties, additional responsibilities, and promotion into privileged positions. The entire command structure ultimately rested on this enormous base of ordinary soldiers, immunes, and principals. The next layer is where Roman ranks stopped looking like a modern chart. Immunes were skilled soldiers whose specialist jobs could exempt them from normal duties. Principals were promoted soldiers with additional responsibility. A tesserarius supervised watches and passwords. An optio served as a centurion's deputy. A signifer carried a century's standard, while the prestigious aquilafer carried the legion's eagle. These were important appointments, but they were not one perfectly universal promotion ladder. Their authority depended heavily on the job they actually held. Centurion. This was the first unmistakable command level. A centurion normally commanded a centuria, commonly associated in the imperial period with roughly 80 soldiers. But centurion was not one single rank. Centurions were arranged in an elaborate hierarchy depending on their century and cohort. In the 2nd through 10th cohorts, the titles ran upward through Hastatus Posterior, Princeps Posterior, Pilus Posterior, Hastatus Prior, Princeps Prior, and Pilus Prior. Those strange names survived from much older Roman military organization. The centurion therefore formed an entire career ladder inside the legion's middle command. Primus Pilus. At the summit of the centurion hierarchy stood the Primus Pilus, literally, the first spear. He was the senior centurion of the legion's prestigious first cohort and one of its most important professional soldiers. Ancient evidence places the chief centurion close to the legion's senior decision-making structure. This position matters because it shows how far a professional soldier could rise without becoming the aristocratic commander of the legion. A successful Primus Pilus could even move into senior appointments, such as Prefectus Castrorum, the camp prefect, and military tribunes. Above the centurion class, the Roman ladder develops a branch. The Prefectus Castrorum, or camp prefect, was usually an exceptionally experienced soldier and often a former Primus Pilus. He supervised the fortress, supplies, and much of the legion's infrastructure, and ranked among its senior commanders. The legion also had 6 military tribunes. 5 Angusticlavii came from the equestrian order and mainly performed staff duties. 1 Tribunus, Laticlavius, identified by the broad senatorial stripe, stood much higher and served as second in command. Roman command therefore reflected social class as well as military experience. Legatus Legionis. At the top stood the Legatus Legionis, the commander of the entire legion. In the imperial system, this was normally a senator operating under the authority of the emperor, and that reveals the biggest difference between Roman and modern military promotion. The legion's commander did not normally spend a career climbing from ordinary legionary through every lower rank. Rome joined 2 systems at the top: professional soldiers rising through military experience and members of the political elite entering senior command through Rome's social hierarchy. Beneath the legate stood the broad-striped tribune, the camp prefect, the centurions, and finally, the legion's thousands of soldiers. The Roman legion was not a simple ancient version of private, sergeant, captain, and general. It was a layered system. Ordinary soldiers, promoted specialists, centurions, a chief centurion, senior staff, and finally a senatorial commander. That structure is what turned thousands of individual soldiers into a single Roman legion.